The wind found them first. It slid through the mountain pass like a living thing, cold and curious, whispering against rifles and cheekbones, carrying the smell of pine, stone, and distant smoke. The SEAL sniper team lay hidden along the ridge, scopes trained on a valley that had swallowed patrols whole. Below them, enemy positions were scattered like scars across the land. Somewhere in that maze, an Allied convoy was pinned down, bleeding time and hope with every passing minute. And somewhere behind the team, quiet as a shadow that didn't quite belong, stood the woman they called the native ghost. They didn't use her real name. Most of them never bothered to learn it. She had arrived 2 days earlier with no ceremony, no rank that impressed them, and no rifle that inspired confidence. Just a simple, worn bolt-action weapon wrapped in faded cloth, wood darkened by age and hands that had known work. It looked more like something you'd hang above a fireplace than bring into a modern battlefield. The laughter had started almost immediately. "Is that thing from a museum?" one of the snipers whispered over comms, barely suppressing a chuckle. "Maybe she's here to scare the enemy with legends," another added. Ghost stories and campfire myths. They were the best of the best, men who had trained for years, survived hell, and carried rifles engineered with the latest technology. Precision glass, custom barrels, digital rangefinders. And then there was her, silent, watchful, carrying a family rifle older than most of them. She didn't respond. She never did. She simply watched the valley with eyes that had learned patience long before war found her. They didn't know where she came from, only that she was local to the region, raised in these mountains, shaped by them. Her people had hunted here for generations, reading wind and distance the way others read maps. She had learned to shoot as a child, not for sport, but for survival. Every lesson had been personal. Every mistake costly. That rifle wasn't just a weapon. It was inheritance. The mocking continued until the first nightfall, when the enemy began to move. The convoy below sent a desperate transmission, ammunition running low, casualties mounting, enemy reinforcements closing in. The SEALs adjusted their positions, dialing scopes, calculating distances. The nearest hostile target was already pushing the edge of their effective range. Anything farther would be guesswork, even for them. Then came the problem no one wanted to say out loud. The enemy commander appeared. He stood on a distant ridgeline, surrounded by guards, orchestrating the assault with calm efficiency. The distance to him was staggering, nearly 3,800 meters. Beyond record shots, beyond charts, beyond doctrine. No one spoke at first. Finally, the team leader exhaled. "Out of range. We can't touch him." The convoy's radio crackled again. Panic, fear, someone crying out in pain before the transmission cut. Silence pressed down harder than the wind. That was when the native ghost stepped forward. "I can," she said. Her voice was steady, low, carrying no ego, just certainty. Several heads turned. A few scoffs escaped before they could be stopped. With that, one sniper said, nodding toward her rifle, "That's not a shot. That's a prayer." She knelt without arguing, unwrapped the cloth slowly, reverently. The rifle's metal caught the fading light, scarred but cared for. She ran her fingers along the stock, as if greeting an old friend. "My grandfather made this rifle," she said quietly. "He taught my father. My father taught me. This land taught the rest." The team leader hesitated. Training screamed no. Logic protested. But the valley below didn't care about logic, it cared about time. "You get one chance," he said at last. She lay prone at the edge of the ridge, settling into the earth as if becoming part of it. No rangefinder, no digital aids, just her eye, the wind on her face, and memories stretching back through generations. She closed her eyes, and listened. She listened to the wind moving across stone, felt how it rose and fell against her cheek. She counted heartbeats, not seconds. She pictured the valley not as distance, but as a living map, slopes, thermals, unseen currents bending a bullet's path long before it arrived. The SEALs watched, silent now. No one laughed. She adjusted the rifle by millimeters, breathing slow and deep. Her finger rested on the trigger, not tense, not eager. When she opened her eyes, they were calm. The shot cracked the air, sharp, final, almost lost in the wind. The rifle kicked gently against her shoulder, familiar as a handshake. Then they waited. At that distance, time stretched. 1 second, 2, 3. Far across the valley, the enemy commander collapsed. Chaos erupted instantly. Shouting, confusion, orders shouted into radios that no longer had a leader to answer them. The coordinated assault unraveled, turning sharp and frantic. The convoy broke free minutes later. Lives were saved. On the ridge, no one spoke for a long moment. Finally, one of the snipers whispered, that was impossible. The native ghost began wrapping her rifle again. No, she said, it was earned. Extraction came at dawn. As they prepared to move, the team leader approached her, removing his helmet. I was wrong, he said simply. All of us were. She met his gaze, not with pride, not with resentment, but with something gentler. People mistake silence for weakness, she said, and tradition for age, but some things last because they work. As they parted ways, the SEALs carried more than just another mission completed. They carried a lesson burned deeper than any training scenario. That excellence doesn't always announce itself. That respect should come before judgment. And that sometimes, the most powerful weapon on the battlefield isn't technology or reputation, but patience, heritage, and the courage to trust what shaped you. High in the mountains, the wind kept moving, whispering through stone and memory. And somewhere within it, the legend of the native ghost took on a new meaning, not as a myth to be mocked, but as a reminder that greatness often arrives quietly, and leaves the loudest impact of all.